Hello, everybody. We're going to do some rising sign horoscopes for the Capricorn new moon that is happening. I think it's like 2 a.m. Pacific time. So, tonight, early morning. But I'm getting set up to go through all of the signs to do a little horoscope. So, in the meantime, how is everybody doing? And what's your rising sign? You're going to need to know your rising sign for this. Setting up a little poll so everybody can check in with their rising sign. We're trying something today. And if anybody's commenting, I can't see it right now, but I will respond in a little bit. Oh no. Well, never mind. I'm not going to do a poll because you can only have 10 options. Alright. Hi, Carletta. Alright, let's get to it. I was going to do a little poll so everybody can respond with their rising sign, but never mind, we're not going to do that. I do want to see if I can add a... There we go. Cool. Alright. Do we have any Aries rising people here? And if you don't know your rising sign, head to astro.com and fill out the information to pull up your astrology chart, and that will tell you you're looking for your ascendant if you do that. I do have a pinned post on my profile that takes you through step by step how to do that. So, thank you. Y'all are my favorite kind of people. Like, sometimes the trolls are entertaining, but it's like the like reverse trolls that come in places and actually say nice things. It's great. I forgot my timer, so we're going to set one on my watch. Gemini rising. Cool. You'll be third. I like to go in order. It drives me absolutely nuts when people don't go in order of the signs. So, sorry if I'm a little quiet today. I'm getting over a real bad migraine, so we're a little off today. I'm a little low energy, but we are here anyway. So yeah, if I seem, those of you who are used to seeing me around here, or I guess if you're new to, usually I'm a little more like not quite peppy. I'm not really a peppy person, but I don't got a lot to work with today. I only got a few hours of sleep. So, all right. So, just briefly going over new moons first. This is something that I am going to start talking about more here, so if you follow me, stay tuned for that. I am going to repost this live on YouTube, and if I can, I'm going to put it on my Ko-fi also, and then any new moon content will also be on my Ko-fi. So if that's something that you specifically are interested in, you can find it all in one place when it exists. I intended to make some posts about all of this today. And again, migraine and lack of sleep, that didn't happen. So, new moon. So, most people are aware of the full moon, right? And that has the stereotype of making everybody a little crazy, which happens. Like, you can actually talk to people that work in like ERs or even like teachers at schools, that people just tend to be a little off the wall during the full moon. The new moon is the opposite. So the full moon is when you have the sun and the moon are on opposite sides. Thank you for the snowman. Sun and moon are at opposite sides during a full moon of the earth. So you get the full light of the sun shining on the face of the moon. So we get the full moon, right? It looks full. New moon is the opposite. So they're actually on the same side. So we don't see any of the light reflected off of the moon because it's on the back side. Nice. So energetically, this represents a much more calm period. So it's kind of fitting that I'm a little low energy. And of course, depending on your own chart, your own personal energy, the moon cycles will affect you a little differently. And even from cycle to cycle, it can manifest a little bit differently. In general, though, new moons are again, they're a little bit more calm. They're much more about inner reflection. You can do new moon water. I haven't done moon water in so long. So where usually you hear moon water and it is full moon water, right? So it's charged with that energy. It's kind of an amplifier to things, right? It has moon water. So moon water is, I'm trying to collect my thoughts to explain what this is because it's such a like, anyway, when most people talk about moon water, they're talking about water that has been set out, usually outside, doesn't have to be outside, but in the, stumbling over my words, we're doing great, water that is set outside under the light of the full moon, so it charges, is how people, I don't charge things necessarily, so this isn't really part of my personal practice, but it charges the water with the energy of that full moon. So depending on the general energy around that full moon, the water will be charged with that. I hope that makes sense. New moon water, you can do that. It's, I mean, I guess, but the point is to be able to use it. So you'll want to find usually some sort of clear container, so that you have it to use. So some people will use it, some people will like drink it if it's, drinkable water. Some people will use it in spell work if they do any spell work. It has a variety of potential uses to it. New moon water, same idea, setting the, water out to charge with the energy of the new moon. So new moons are more so about setting new intentions. It's starting a new cycle. That's okay. This is getting a little, no, it's moon water and any other sort of witchcraft practices are all about intention. intention and working with energy. So, not necessarily. Background. New moon energy. So this is the energy that we are under right now. Is the new moon is about to peak at like 2 a.m. tonight. Yeah, give it a go. Different purposes. So again, we're using the full moon is much more of an amplifier. Why are you talking about Biden here? We're not talking about politics. If you want to join the astrology conversation, you can do so. Otherwise, I don't know what's going on. All right. I'm trying to get around to what to do for the new moon. The big thing with the new moon is setting intention. So it's coming from a clean slate. It's also a good time to just kind of clean. If you cleanse anything, it's a good time for that. The new moon energy is more cleansing than it is really charging. So like if you're going to do water for the new moon, it's more so it's good in a cleansing sort of aspect. Astrology is nonsense. I mean, if you want to believe that it's nonsense, that's fine. You can tell me why if you want. I'm open to conversation. Amari, we're not doing readings today. Pay attention to what's going on before you comment, please. Okay. I guess we're gonna derail this for just a second. Are you actually curious about astrology, or are you just trying to get a reaction? Because you're not going to get a reaction out of me. It's much less about believing that it's real and more it's a reflection of energy. It's not about whether it's quote unquote real or not. It doesn't. The way I look at astrology, the stars, the planets, I love you, Shay. The planets don't affect your life with how I view it. That's how a lot of pop culture people view it. I don't think that's what it is at all. To me, it's just a reflection of energy. It's the idea of as above, so below, which is as things are on the microcosm, so they are also on the macrocosm, which is actually backed by science. It's just a reflection and a different way to look at energy. Thank you for the follow. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in a god. Alright, we're getting off track. We're supposed to be talking about the new moon here. So we had... Okay. New moon. So charging water, right? You can charge water under the full moon. You can do a similar okay. Yep, we're done. That's what I thought. Those are fun. What was I saying? We were talking about charging water and being able to do that with new moons also. It has a different intention. It can be used more for cleansing. There's other purposes. That's just the primary one that's coming to mind for me. So, again, a great thing to do with new moons is to set intention. So kind of going internal, reflecting, Wow, we are getting some fun comments today. We're not doing readings today, guys. Um, Reflecting on kind of where you're at right now and figuring out what kind of intention you want to set to move forward in your life. Feral? Explain what you mean by that. So it depends on the energy of the full moon. Um, like the last full moon that we had in Gemini itself is very mental. It's very quick. It's a little all over the place itself. I don't know what is going on today. We're getting some crazies. Um, and I don't like to block or mute people right away. I like to see where it goes. So, but like what? Why are you commenting that here? Like, I mean, the more they comment, the more it counts for interaction for me. So, oh no, I guess. But they are distracting. So, and I already have a brain that is not staying on track. Yeah, probably. Um, some comments in this live were filtered. Yeah, I bet. Um, where was I? Is full moon water crazy? Not necessarily, but if the energy of that full moon that it's being charged under is a little crazy, then yes. Okay, so we're here to talk about the new moon. I have this Aries rising thing that's been up here since the start. I'm going to go through the rising signs and talk a little bit about where is a good area of life for you to sort of do this internal reflection and setting new intentions for the current moon cycle. Astrology, transits, and placements. So, for Aries rising, do we have any Aries rising in here? So you have a personal chart, which is a snapshot of where the planets were when you were born. Yeah, there are different names for the full moons. Um, where the planets currently are the transiting planets. Wow, we have another one of these. If you want to talk about astrology and your thoughts, I'm here for that. But if you're just gonna try to get a reaction out of me, we're not here for that. Very possible. Probably. Okay. So, Aries rising. I was planning on posting this to YouTube, but we'll see. This has been a mess so far. Area of focus for the new moon for Aries rising is your career, your direction that you want to go in life, your, what is the other word that I'm looking for? Legacy. That's the other one. Cool. Yeah, definitely the same person. We love that. I don't know what's up with that. So this is just, again, and this is tonight, this is also tomorrow. There's a little wiggle room, and really it's even the next couple days is the beginning of the new moon cycle, right? So you have a couple days to sort of sit with the energy and figure out what the intention that you want to set is. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this person. So Aries rising, career. Where are you headed in life? Are you happy with it? Do you need to reevaluate? And especially with it being Capricorn, it is very like Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so there's a lot of structure. So like, are you is the structure there that you want? Yeah, that's very possible. It's somebody that for some reason has I mean, this is probably just what they do all the time. They just troll people and bounce around through all their profiles. Okay, we're gonna move on to Taurus rising. And I didn't even I didn't even talk about like what the energy of this new moon is. Oh man. Capricorn. It's in Capricorn. Go to astro.com. That's the best place to look up your chart. I have a pinned post on how to pull up your chart. Um, that's honestly the best thing to do because I'm not going to do a good job of explaining it right now. Um, yeah, pinned post, astro.com. You'll get a chart. It will look confusing. You won't know what to make of it at first. That's okay. Um, I got you. Okay, Capricorn new moon. In general, Capricorn does have a focus on career. So there is kind of that energy in general. But again, it's the structure from Saturn. So it is kind of taking a look at of the structures that are wherever this is hitting for you. Nice. It's a process to figure out, and most people don't realize that you have a whole chart. So Libra Sun, Scorpio Moon, Scorpio Rising. Nice. I also have a Scorpio Moon. I love the Scorpio energy. So many people don't, but it's because most people don't understand it. Okay. Taurus Rising. We are on to Taurus Rising. So for Taurus Rising, this new moon, this reflection, this looking at the structure, this is happening in your ninth house. So this is the house of expansion, of higher learning, of just kind of expanding your scope. So this might be spirituality. This can also just be actual like higher education, higher learning. It's just kind of it's broadening your horizons in some way. So that's for Taurus rising. I was gonna update this little text box and then I forgot. All right, that was Taurus. Let's move to Gemini because these don't need to be drawn out things. Gemini rising. Gemini rising. This is your eighth house. So this is the house of depth interactions, kind of the darker side of life, things that are transformative, can also relate to sex. So it's, again, looking at the structure of those things, And that's where Gemini rising can set some intentions. Let me know if y'all have any questions. I'm just going to cycle through these, see if we can just get through them. Since for some reason we just have all the weirdos out today. Or really just one for some reason. Alright, Cancer rising. Cancer rising. This one has a bit of a trying to figure out how to phrase this. So this is one to focus on because the new moon and also the sun is just moving into Capricorn, is opposing in the opposing sign of your rising. So there's kind of a pull there a little bit, okay? The focus of the new moon, though, is in your relationships. So it's kind of, you might feel a pull back and forth between you want to focus on your relationships, and that is the place for you to reflect and to set some intentions, but there might be a little bit of the well, what about me? Because your rising sign is on the opposite side. Let yourself go into focusing on relationships. On to Leo rising. This is happening in your 6th house, this new moon in Capricorn. So this is the structure of your day-to-day life. This might be your job, just in general, daily habits, and especially habits that affect your health. Looking into those, seeing how that has gone for you, setting new intentions on where you want to go next. Do y'all understand what I'm saying by setting intentions? If you want me to elaborate, I will. Alright, Virgo rising. This is happening in your 5th house. Alright, I will, once I get through all the rising signs, I'll talk about what I actually mean by setting intentions. Simple answer, goals. Kind of. Virgo rising. This is in your 5th house. So this is the house of creative energy, of self-expression. Yeah, kind of manifestation like. 5th house, creative energy, self-expression. Ooh, excuse me, weird hiccup. And just kind of general, the things that you find fun in life. So evaluating those kinds of things. Are you actually having fun? Is your life set up in a way that allows you to have fun and enjoy being you? Libra rising, that's me. So Libra rising, this is happening in your 4th house. This is the house of home. So this is both physical home and also like home within yourself, making sure that your personal needs are fulfilled, and just making sure that your home environment is what you need it to be taken care of. Scorpio rising, 3rd house. So this is communicating with others, especially those like directly around you, and looking at how you communicate and how you express yourself, how you use your words, also how you learn. Are you satisfied with learning? Are you learning enough? Do you need to maybe evaluate that? Sagittarius rising. I totally forgot to change my little bubble thing. We're not going to do that. Sagittarius rising, this is the second house, which is like, there's a lot with this one. This is the house of stability. This is the house of money and possessions. So, again, taking a look at that, are those things working out for you? Are they not? What needs to change? What structures are or are not in place that should be? Capricorn rising, so that's, you're getting a double dose of the sun, and I mean the sun is with the moon here, so there is kind of an added for all of this illumination to all of these things. So it's a little bit more clear in this next sort of, honestly, I don't know the like hour period, I'm shit with time. But when the moon and the sun are conjunct, it's kind of doubling up on the illuminating reflection energy. So Capricorn rising, that is very much, the focus is on the self and how you show yourself to the world. What kind of, how do other people see you? And is that, are you portraying yourself in a way that actually suits what you want to be? Aquarius rising, interesting. This is in the 12th house. So the 12th house is unseen things, it's hidden things in your life. It's kind of colloquially, whatever. I love that word and I can never say it. Known as the house of your undoing. So it's kind of the, where you get a little lost. So there's a reflection to happen there, and any 12th house thing is very has the potential to turn into escapism. So it's really easy to just kind of fuck off into your imagination when it's much more productive to actually look at maybe why you're doing that. Alright, and finally, last up, we have Pisces rising. This is in the 11th house. This is the house of friendship, of social groups, social dynamics. Again, are you socializing enough, right? What are the structures that are there? Are they actually serving you? Do they need to be reworked a little bit? Let's get a little bit more light in here. Okay. That was through the signs. We made it through. So intentions, right? What I mean by that. Part of this is, sorry, my nose is really itchy. My nose always gets super itchy when I do lives. The first part of this is to get in touch with your intuition. And if you don't like the word intuition, what's your gut telling you? What is the gut sense? Okay. And and you don't have to necessarily go by what I described as like the area of life to focus on right now. You don't have to. That's just kind of where the energy is for you, so that would be a natural area of life to set this intention, okay? So if you sit with that area of life and you reflect on it and you say, okay, I want to change this. It's your intention to change that. Yeah, part of intuition. Like, are you feeling like you want to focus elsewhere? Cool. Could I probably tell you why you want to focus elsewhere? Yeah. If I were to look at your chart, I would be able to see it. It's similar to, like, it's interesting if you think of setting intention, manifestation, and goal setting. They're all kind of different versions of the same thing. It's deciding that you want something, and that's pretty much it, right? What's different is the approach. I feel like when you talk about goal setting, the energy of that is very, it can be direct, it can be more concrete. It can be a little bit more objective, but it can also be far less natural. I would say the setting, yeah, like setting goals for me is like, I feel like they're helpful as a milestone. As a Gemini rising, part of the focus can be on sex. That's something that's in the eighth house, and that's caveat there. It isn't like the just for fun, like a fling kind of like fun energy around that. That's the fifth house. Eighth house is the depth connection, so the deeper connection with somebody during that time, the intimate portion of those activities. So I feel like I shouldn't say the word too much. Yeah, so it is a little, it's not the fun side, it's the emotional, the depth, right? It's anything depth, but that is a specific thing that does fall there. Yeah, I told you it'd be confusing. Let me know what you're confused about, and I'll see if I can help you out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, intimacy in general too. And get specifically anything. It's the depth. Did you navigate to? Did you get your chart? Are you confused at looking at your chart? Or are you confused about the site itself? I mean, it's the eighth house is associated with Scorpio, so it is, and Pluto. Like, there is darker sides. Yep. So, best thing if you're confused about navigating the site, follow my pinned post. Um, in short, I don't have my computer with me, so I can't talk through navigating. You want to go to find where it says all, or what is it, like free horoscope or something like that. Um, it'll take you to a page to enter in your name, your birthday, birth time, and birthplace. That's the page you want to get to be able to pull up your chart. We were talking about intention versus setting goals versus manifestation. Um, there is inherent intention in all of it. Intention is not just, I'm setting intention for the new moon. Like, that's not the only use of that. There, there's the potential to be intention behind everything you do in life, right? My intent doing this live is to help people understand the energy that's going on right now and how to work with it personally. That's my intent here. That's my goal, you could say. And that's really what it is. It's looking at, if you're working with the moon cycles, you're looking at, okay, we're entering into this new moon cycle. What is my intention to work on through this current cycle, about 28 days? You find where it is in your chart. You sit with that. You decide on, okay, my intention based on it being in this area of life is to do this. So like for me, it's in my fourth house, so that's my home, right? So part of, and I haven't yet like I'm personally going to do a meditation on this. I'll probably do a tarot spread just for myself to give me a little bit more insight into what's going on in you know, my subconscious and all that, right? What do I feel like I need to focus on? Right off the bat, I know I need to just kind of organize things around my home. I have a couple areas that I need to focus on just getting organized and set up. In a way, I don't really like the word wishes, because that to me feels like you're like, I'm just wishing for this, and it's taking away your ability to make it happen. I mean, it doesn't actually take away your ability, it takes away the emphasis on that it's in your power to make it happen. Hello. And that's another part of like typical talk about manifestation is kind of like you ask the universe for it and then you let it go, right? Without realizing that you actually have to put in some work also. Yeah, and that's your rising sign, is what determines what areas of life this focus travels through. Yeah, because like you could go through, so my partner and I, for example, we both have an Aquarius sun, but my rising sign is Libra. His rising sign is Aquarius. So if I were to go just off of like our sun sign, the new moon is hitting us at different points in our chart. It's happening in Capricorn, but for me it's happening in the fourth house of home. For him, it's happening in the 12th house. So that's why I had that reaction to talking about Aquarius. Yeah. So while we could base it off of both being Aquarius suns, we're not going to get quite the same personal focus as if we use the rising sign. That's why I like to use rising signs for horoscopes and whatnot, because it makes it actually more personal than just your sun. It makes it a little bit more specific because you can actually speak to the area of life things are happening in. Is this making sense? Do y'all have any other questions? I will be, again, I wanted to do this today, but migraine happened and whatnot, so that didn't happen. Tomorrow I will be posting more about like kind of a guide, more or less, to set the intention for yourself. So rising, to find that in your chart, you want to look for ascendant if you have your chart pulled up. AAC or ASC, I don't remember how they have it listed. The rising sign is determined by your time of birth, so that's why it's important to have your time and an accurate time. The rising, so like the sun takes the whole year to move through the zodiac, right? The moon will move through the zodiac in 28 days. The rising sign will go through all 12 signs in a 24-hour period. So it's representative of the way that you enter the world, right? What time you're entering the world at that's what sets that. So that determines your first house. It's how you come into the world and therefore how you move through it. which is why it determines each area of life, because it determines how you move through each area of life. So in relation to I showed up as my mom was watching, I want to say it was like Seinfeld or something, like some late night show. I was born at 10 p.m. So yeah, it's how people see you on the outside. So it's kind of how you want to be. I wish I had my notebook over here. There was one of my books that had a really good breakdown of like sun versus rising sign. That your rising sign is yeah, it's how you present to people, but it is also what you want to be like. And sometimes it takes you a while to actually grow into your sun sign, that being the core of who you actually are. That's your core personality. That's what, it's your life force energy. It's what brings you through life. Yeah, so sun is like your true personality, your true self. The moon is deeper. So the moon is what you need in life, really. It's what you need to feel taken care of. It's your emotions. It's kind of your emotional current, and the way that you react to things is actually a moon thing also. It's a lot. It is definitely a lot. If you do want to learn more about astrology, there's two possible ways to go about it, okay? If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of actually understanding it for yourself, I recommend starting with the resources on astro.com. They have a lot of really great beginner resources. They have a interactive version of your chart, so you can actually like click on things and it'll explain it to you. Start with reading the basic breakdown, though, the basic information, and then go to the interactive chart to apply it. There's also some really great books. You can message me at any time if you want book recommendations. I think I have a post somewhere with that. I need to do a new one, though. The other way, if you don't really care to learn the whys of astrology, you just kind of want to know, what that view is of yourself. You want to just know what your energy is like. Find an astrologer that you connect with, that you like what they have to say. If that's me, cool. If that's somebody else, also fine. And book a reading. For me, I have just a basic sun, moon, rising, which is really just straight to the point about the basics. And then I have a couple other tiers from there. I'm also working on thank you. I'm working on it's not really a reading, it's a report kind of thing. So it'll be actually like a PDF breakdown of your chart. Yeah, so if you want to know more, if you want to know the whys, dig into some learning, start with the basics. If you don't really care about the whys, you just want to know about yourself, get a reading done. And if you have any questions about any of that, let me know. Oh boy, okay, Vedic. So, Vedic astrology works off of a different system than Western astrology. So in Western astrology, that's what I use, that's what I talk about. We use the tropical system for chart calculation. It's very symbolic. It's not going off of any where constellations actually are. It's going off of a symbolic map of where they were when this was all created. It's more... I'll explain. Okay, Vedic. The Vedic system. They use sidereal. I don't know if that's actually how you say it. Vedic is the astrology that came out of India. Western is kind of an amalgamation of Babylonian, Egyptian, Greek, kind of grew in that area. So Vedic uses a system that I believe goes off of where the constellations actually are. The two systems are read completely different. The charts actually look completely different. Western, we have the circle chart. Vedic, they have like a grid. I don't understand how to read that. They also just read the planets differently. Like they have more emphasis on the rising sign than they do the sun sign, whereas Western, most people have the emphasis on the sun sign. The moon, I think most of the planets represent different things in each system. Those are the primary types right now. Just to kind of finish up the differences that I know. Again, I don't know Vedic. Western is more about, it's a little bit more psychological. It's a little bit more based on emotion. It's earth-based. Vedic is more mental. It's more concrete. It's more straightforward. Yeah, there's a lot of differences. It's a completely different system. It uses a lot of the same vocabulary, but it's very different. Yeah, there's Vedic astrologers will they will predict dates of things and like how many kids you'll have because it is much more concrete. It's not, to my knowledge, it's not nearly as intuitive as Western can be. Right now, so what I mean by right now is like in this current period of time. I mean, sometimes that is what has to happen, but if you want to understand it, then you'll get there, and yeah, sometimes losing your mind a little bit is what has to happen. I reached a breaking point in my life before I even started getting curious about astrology. So, in terms of like systems of calculating charts, I don't know for sure if there are other systems. There are different presentations of like the Western chart. So you have, oh gosh, I mean, you have different house systems for one, but you have like draconic charts, you have all sorts of different things. And I stick to Western. I use whole signs for houses. That's my jam. That's what makes sense to me. Yeah, there's a lot to astrology. There's a lot. So you have, most people know about the signs. Most people know about the sun. You also have a placement for every other planet. Sun and moon, obviously they are not classified as planets in astrology. They're talked about as planets. And yeah, you also have 12 houses. So kind of the way that they interact is that you have the energy of the planet, right, is kind of like an archetypal type of energy. Okay. The sign that the planet is in is the style in which that archetypal energy plays out. So we'll take, again, I'll use myself as an example, the sun. Okay, the sun is about your personality, self-expression, creative drive. We'll leave it at that. My sun is in Aquarius, so all of those things, the way I express myself, the way I like to create, is an Aquarius nature. So a little weird, very mental, very, very mental, and wanting to help people. All of that is a big part of my personality. Then you factor in the house is the area of life that plays out in. So for me, it's in my 5th house. So it's the way I create. It's my artistic outlet. It's my self-expression. So my sun is actually in its kind of home house. Yeah, so you have the planet is the archetypal energy done in the style of the sign in the area of life determined by the house. And the houses are also, you can look at them as a progression through life. Arc energy? What do you mean by that? Did I say arc energy? Or did you read arc energy somewhere? Oh, archetypal. That's the word. Yeah, archetypal. So that's the archetypes are basically just like, oh, that's one of those words that I have such a hard time defining. It's a type of energy, basically. Um, yeah. Thank you, Shay, for finding words for me. Second type you mentioned is more difficult to learn. I don't know what you are referencing there. So, okay, so like examples, I'll give examples just through the planets. So like you have your sun is your personality, your self-expression, yada yada. Your moon is, and also archetypal is not always the best word, that's just the word that comes to mind. It kind of works. The moon is about your emotions, your intuition, what you need to feel taken care of. Mercury is about communication, and expression of your ideas, your thoughts. Also learning. Words. Mercury is words. It's also very quick. They kind of have their own personalities to them. Venus is about beauty, love, art, values. Mars is about action, drive, how you get to what you want. Jupiter is about expansion and growth and expanding your horizons. Saturn is about restrictions, boundaries, structure, very paternal, very rigid. Uranus is about breaking structures, being individuated, being a little unpredictable. Neptune is about merging with things greater than you. It's kind of getting lost in those things that are greater than you. Who am I leaving out? Pluto. Oh, Pluto is about transformation. It's about death and rebirth. It's Phoenix energy. Those are the basic planets. I think I got everybody in there. Seeing the houses and stuff living. Yeah, that can help. Yeah, it's astrology is a lot. It's that's I get really frustrated with that's not the right word. I get annoyed that like pop culture astrology is basically only focused on the sun sign because it creates this idea that that's all astrology is when there's so much more to it. Pluto's just a small planet. I mean, Pluto also like it's potentially a planetary body from another solar system. Like there's a lot that's just not known about Pluto, which is part of its symbolism in astrology too. Is just kind of the unknown and not knowing until you get there. It also, in its orbit, will sometimes move like in front of Neptune. So that's kind of, it's the only planet that will actually shift its placement in the order. And they're never close enough to where they would like collide. Um, to my knowledge, our astrology only focuses on our solar system. I don't think that outside systems are factored in. That would be a lot. However, you can factor in more than just the planets. There are asteroids that also have symbolism to them, which I haven't even gone all the way into asteroids. I have a couple key ones that I like to use, but it's a lot. It's kind of, you have to kind of go in phases. You start learning about the signs, you learn about the planets, you learn about the houses, and then you learn how to put all of it together and learn how it all talks to each other. And there's so many different ways to do that. Oh, the 13th sign. Okay. Orificus or whatever. I don't know how to say it. Um, I don't I don't use the 13th sign. So the 13th sign would be factored in if you actually go off of current placements. The way that the constellations and everything have shifted over time, there is a 13th sign in like the ring of the constellations that represent the zodiac. Since in Western astrology we don't go based off of the current picture of what it looks like, we go off of the symbolic division of the sky. 13th sign is not a thing. Not a thing. I mean, and they didn't. It again, it is an observed constellation in this ring of constellations. So like the constellation does exist. It's just not important in most charts. Very sad. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's not it doesn't line up with the rest of the way things are set up. I honestly don't even remember where it falls and what people say about it. But I mean there is, I will say, there is something to be said about adding new discoveries. So when okay, so it's between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Um when astrology was like we are getting real dark. Astrology was first being talked about, right? Um you only had Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And then eventually, Uranus was discovered. And that was in like 18 something, I think, early 1800s. Um, so it's a new energy, right? So astrologers looked at what was going on in the time of its discovery, that then became representative of that planet's energy. So then it began being used by astrologers. Same thing happened with then Neptune. Neptune was discovered around the time that anesthetics were being discovered and used. Um, and there's other things. That's just the one I remember off the top of my head that happened. Pluto was only discovered in like 1930. Like, that's not that long ago. So like it went through its course of, okay, what happened during those times, big transformations. um So new things do get added, but it makes more sense to add planets than it does add signs when the signs are already symbolic. You know, they're not literal placements. It's symbolic. That's that. I forgot about that rant. I mean, there was just so little known about Pluto, and the more they researched and realized that it's really small, and that it's just odd, like it's rocky, where most of the outer planets are gaseous. It goes back and forth. Sometimes it's the eighth planet, and sometimes it's the ninth, and it just kind of does its own thing. Yes, Pluto does have moons, and it's theorized that the moons are actually potentially parts of Pluto that broke off. So dark. Okay, well, this live started out real interesting. We finally got to the point, and then we got to some actually interesting conversation. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here unless anybody else has any questions. I will be live again tomorrow. I don't know yet what I will talk about tomorrow. I mean, if you're curious, go with the curiosity. Take it one step at a time. Um, Take a break when you need it. Okay, like there, you don't have to do it all in one go. There's a lot. Shay, I am so excited about that. Um, yeah, of course, I love these conversations. Like again, we had a rough start, but where this ended up, I love this shit. Um, if y'all have more questions, please either message me, comment on my posts, catch me live. I should be live tomorrow afternoon, a little bit earlier than today, so that we avoid this dark situation. uh, but yeah, I will be posting more about the new moon tomorrow. And yeah, if you do want to book a reading, I have a link in my bio, or you can message me. All right. Any last minute burning questions? Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that new moon water, you can, what you use for new moon water in a what is the term that I'm trying to think of? Use it to like mop with, because it's cleansing. So you can put it floor wash. That's the word. I hope you have a wonderful night too. I'm gonna go rest and eat some leftover baked potato soup. Yeah, or use it in bath water. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow, some other time. Thanks for hanging out.